Hello and welcome to Camberg. This is Dresden's Tale, episode 48, chapter 46 of volume 2. This is the show where we follow Dresden Fane. Well, we're not sure why. Vote in the comments if you'd like to follow somebody else. I wonder how Go the Destroyer is doing. Where was I? Oh yeah, our story exists in the violence of the Keld culture, a land where dwarven warlocks avoid using magic in preference of knocking things over the head with clubs. I'm your guide through this nonsensical landscape, Lewis Nichols. I know you've heard it, the Empire. I'm certain characters have used the terminology, and I probably have too. What does it mean? If there is an empire, who's the emperor? How do the clans fit into it? Don't worry, you haven't missed anything. It's slang. The word as you know it does have meaning for the Kelds. For brief times in the ancient history of Moldab, there have been true empires. Old Kodos ruled over its western neighbors from time to time. The Gaelics sometimes spoke of empire when a particularly motivated warlord thought to exert his power over the lands extending down to the Trojans. Most recently, the Papacy of Patronsburg called itself an empire when it held sway over the powers still lingering over most of the continent. From there, the term took on a more religious meaning. Now it simply means the clan-ruled lands and peoples of the Kelds. There are legitimate reasons to label this hegemony. Many of the institutions of the clans extend beyond their individual ranks. City guilds are not restricted to the clan that might dominate a given settlement. If you are a Campbell woodworker living in Parncilia, you're going to be part of the Parncilia Woodworkers Guild. You even have standing to challenge for leadership, if you're a good productive member. High priests see over geographic areas, and that range depends strictly on their desire and their might. If you're a ranking priest of Tothus, you can declare yourself high priest in an area regardless of the clan. Of course, you have to stand up to all comers, but that's the nature of the culture, and before you get any ideas, standing can get real damn peculiar when it comes to such things. Point is, the clans are not just geographic concepts. In most places, the lines are porous, and some clans are so intermingled, children are not clan by birth, but later by choice when they are old enough to decide for themselves. Thrown into the mix are non-clan settlements, specifically the cities of Sormiel and Patronsburg. What about the Ranayan of the Great Swamp, or the Saurian tribes of the Blue Snakes? Then there are the mountain folk of the Trojans. Sure, you can discount some of these, but they are Keld, and they are not clan. But yet there is the strong desire to group all of them together as Kelds, and here comes the word, empire. It works as good as anything else. And it sounds tough. In an us against them world, Kelds have chosen the word empire to mean all of us. It is not a place or a political system, it's a landscape of faith. Swoosh? Well, that turned out to be the biggest segue we've had in a while. We better go find that dwarf. When we left him, he was diving into dangerous bathwater with a Ranayan sex worker and a whole ocean of troublesome emotions. It's Ebba's 19th day, 2,052 years after the fall. Orn pushed another silver piece into the center of the table. Karen's clinked alongside it to join Ralph's own. A few minutes later, a giant platter of pork, onions, and sliced fruit was delivered to their table. The tavern hall was quiet. Donald was beginning to nap where he stood. It was easier now to count the hours to dawn rather than the number past midnight. Oh yeah, he's done with her. Fang pointed at the stairs, where the Ranayan prostitute descended. Whoop! He held up his mug to her. She didn't seem to notice, but came down to sit at the end of the bar. We'll see. I'm going to bed. Donald roused. But the food just got here. Liz was already helping herself. I'm good. Karen sat up, suddenly wakened by the outburst. She began to eat as half the group ascended to their single room. Thanks, Killer. My pleasure, Southpaw. There'll be time for sleeping later. Ralph tried the fruit and blanched. Not a bug or rat to be had. I don't see any other pterodons around here. I think they cook all their food, Karen remarked. Savages. Dresden's not up here, Orrin called down from the railing. Is that woman still down there? Time to go to work. Foghorn got up. Hey, you whore and R, we're gonna talk. To his surprise, she didn't run, but took an aloof look and lit a bulky cigarette as Dresden's friends approached. I left him drained and smiling, I can assure you. When did he leave the room? Donald questioned. The bartender watched attentively. She smiled and shrugged. I don't know. It's not my job to keep time. Did you even take him for a roll? Orrin pressed. She wasn't shaken. Best fuck I ever had. I'd have paid him if he'd have let me. Donald thought that sounded just like Dresden, but Fanghorn didn't fall for it. Oh yeah, that's it, lady. I'll buy your sorry whore ass just to see how your face feels under a right cross. He pounded his fist into his open left hand. Hey there, the bartender pulled a war club out from under the bar, but before he could get set, Liz grabbed it and jerked it out of his hand. Sit down, she yelled at him, and he backed away with hands raised. Oh yeah, what's it gonna be? I like hitting women. Okay, look, not every guy a friend buys for is into it. I went to give him a little lick, and he left. The guy just jumped out the damn window. I looked down to see if he hurt himself, but away he went, traipsing down the street. He's got a damn head start on us, Orrin said. He could be anywhere, Karen added. Ralph groaned. Anywhere within at least 40 miles with the magic he can do. You were right. It was a bad idea. Donald could only say, I told you so. Dresden swallowed down half a bottle of Tarikian rum. It wasn't good for the palate. Given a choice, his taste buds would have rejected it out of hand. It made his throat angry and his belly quiver, but he could keep it down, and that's all he needed to do. It didn't matter how much. In the history of dwarves, not a one had ever died of alcohol poisoning, and plenty had certainly tried. At the moment, he had a plan. He was done with women. All women. Soon, he would just march out into the jungle and be done with them, and men too, because they all had the same problem as he did. And they were noisy. Everyone was always far too noisy. But first, he had to drink. Not to get drunk, but he had too much coin, and the only way to get rid of it all was to drink. It's not much of a plan. Dresden looked down at a hound laid out on the path between tables. He smiled as a waitress stepped over him, a tray of mugs effortlessly balanced over her head. It's a perfectly fine plan. I've been astute in my assertions of the situation. That's not a word. Astute? It most certainly is. It's a bad plan. It's lazy. Dresden slammed his hand on the table, drawing a few looks from the tavern's few mid-morning customers. Jungle survival is not lazy at all. Except you're not going out there to survive. You're going to die. Why would I do that? Dresden slid more silver towards the female Monkey. In exchange, she set down a fresh bottle of spirits. You wouldn't be much of a Keld leaving Nanook after he's done so much for you. Yeah, well, it hurts, and I'm tired. And that's what it means to be Keld. Pain. Endless pain until you die. Dresden sat his empty glass down hard. So you agree with my plan? You don't get to choose your time. That's up to Oggs. There is no fate, the dwarf argued. Oggs sees to us when the time comes, but he doesn't do the taking. And how do you think he'll see to a coward who gives his life so easily? I'm not a coward, Dresden yelled. He saw someone at the bar turn to see what the commotion was about. Mind your own fucking business. He turned back to the dog. It doesn't matter. It matters if you make it matter. Leith's greatness as a warrior and a craftsman is only given strength if there are voices to remind the people. You can do that. Or you can diminish her for all times. Dresden sat there for a time, his head swimming in hard brew. He wondered what he would tell someone about his lost love. They fought together a few times, and she was a fine metalsmith. He didn't know how the bards made their stories. It was a skill he certainly lacked. Leith, he tried to say her name, but his voice gave out. Leith Shantha was... His heart broke. Tears dripped. His throat swelled. He couldn't find a way to form a sentence. He reached to pour himself another drink, but really wasn't upset when he found the bottle was empty. What can I say? His head was clearing fast. Even at his young age, dwarves rejected alcohol at a rapid rate. Leith Shantha was a warrior of the Stone Clan. Dresden felt like that was a good start. He wasn't sure if he should have been encouraged or intimidated when a nearby Tagara looked towards him. The Arawat had chainmail armor covered in a smock stained with the clan's emblem. We faced Ribnasher together. She was the better of us, but she didn't survive. I will tell you her story, so she might be remembered. Shut up! I was cutting onions. Well, that was a breakthrough. Maybe. I hope. It finally seems like our warrior might be all right. And we learned a little about dwarven resistance to alcohol. Winner, winner, egg lizard dinner. Do you realize we only have 2 episodes left to season 2? For me, that means it's almost time to release the first episode. It's a time to panic over the written work not being ready for KDP. It even means I've taken my first fresh look at Volume 3. Holy bag of donuts. I've got a lot of work to do. It's like a 5th written, and most of that is foobar, given all the work that's happened in the intervening years. It's okay, though. I think it's going to be pretty good. Not time to start doing too many spoilers yet. Not time to talk about it. I don't even know when I'll aim for a release. I like the idea of constant episodes, but that really means I have to give up on future Dresden entirely. Aside from my real full-time job, Dresden's Tale is the only other full-time job I have time for. Then again, when I can avoid watching too much YouTube, I can get lots of stuff done. Honestly, my plan for the last few hours has been to kill some zombies on PC, but I just seem to keep working on the tale. I must really love you guys. I'm glad you keep stopping by. You didn't have to listen, but you did, and I appreciate it. Do the stuff. Like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends. I'm Lewis Nichols, and I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day.